Bitcoin is about to make a golden cross. This is when a shorter term moving average, like the 50-day, crosses over a longer term moving average, like the 200-day, signaling a trend change, signaling momentum to the upside. And while past performance does not guarantee future performance, we've seen this over and over and over again. Let me share with you the live chart, talk about what's next. I also have altcoin news, why SWI is pumping. Watch today's whole video. But this revolution is not slowing down, it's only speeding up. And just in, BlackRock says Bitcoin and crypto adoption is growing faster than the internet and mobile phones.
But what we found with blockchain and digital assets is that in some ways this is one of the fastest growing technologies we've seen in the last few years.
Meaning if it is in question whether Bitcoin and the crypto market are going to be bigger in 2025, or if you have a family member or friend who still questions you about your investment in crypto, this is about a 3-minute clip, but it's so worth it.
On the right-hand side of the chart, you can see our adoption curve. This is just looking at how quickly certain assets are adopted by a society. And you can see that blockchain and digital assets are being adopted faster than major revolutions before it, whether that's the internet or whether that's cell phones. And there's a couple of reasons for this. The first reason is just we're living in a more digital economy than ever before. If we're consuming things online, streaming videos, playing video games, buying digital content, it makes sense to have digitally native assets to conduct those transactions. Secondly, and importantly, in a year like this year, where over half the world's population is voting for new leadership, not just the elections in the United States, in Mexico, in India, and the European Union, we're seeing more geopolitical risk than before, and in fact, declining trust in institutions, whether that's trust in government institutions for maintaining peace and order, whether that's trust in central banks in terms of keeping inflation under control. More distrust has exacerbated the need for a global monetary alternative. The third we're seeing is demographic changes, the rise of the millennial and Gen Z generation. Millennials, at least in the United States, are set to inherit trillions of dollars, are entering peak earnings years in their work, and are increasingly playing an important role in the economy. And millennials are very different from previous generations because we, were the first generation to be digitally native, growing up with the internet, growing up with computers. We understand digital better than previous generations, and that means we're more likely to adopt digital currencies. And then finally, what I think has been really important to BlackRock in our journey in the digital asset space has been the maturing of the infrastructure in digital assets. We've seen billions of dollars move in venture capital and private equity into digital assets to fund incredible innovation in blockchain. We've seen the regulatory environment evolve to get more constructive around digital assets and how people can buy them. We've seen extremely talented people leave traditional finance to go into DeFi to help lead some of these innovations. And all of this infrastructure has really matured over the last 5 years. So between all of these tailwinds, it's really creating the opportunity for digital assets to gain broader adoption across more investors around the world.
So fundamentally, there are still a lot of tailwinds for Bitcoin and ETH.
We have focused thus far our efforts on 2 digital assets, the 2 largest. We feel that between these 2 assets, which represent about 75% of the market cap of the digital asset space and have some of the most liquidity in the digital asset space, that we can really start to make headway in terms of bringing out accessible vehicles to more investors.
And looking over at Margex on the live chart, we see technically a Bitcoin cross is potentially upon us. If/when we see that, what we would see is the 50-day moving average crossing over the 200-day moving average. And what this means to you if history repeats, just understand, and by the way, Altcoin Daily will always give you the real information, that's why you subscribe, that Bitcoin golden crosses tend to be lagging indicators. Meaning just looking at, example, let's say in 2023 into 2020, beginning of 2023, end of 2023, the golden cross happened here. I'm sure it came on people's radar weeks before, and it was a lagging indicator, meaning the action happened before we rallied into it. And by the time then the indicator actually happened, we actually got a sell on that news because it already happened. Lagging indicator. Similar thing at the end of 2023, Golden Cross happened right here. We rallied heavily into it, and by the time it actually happened, it was sort of a non-event. Chop solidation, although the markets ground higher. And even looking back at the beginning of 2020, many people say this crypto year, 2024 is like 2020, 2025 will be like 2021. This all based on the 4-year Bitcoin halving cycle. But you'll notice the Golden Cross happened right here. We rallied into it, dumped a little before it, and actually ground down into it. So a big buy the rumor, sell the news, chop solidation, a little grinding upwards, fake outs in the weeks to follow. Of course, that did not stop the broader trend. I personally did take a long position on the Bitcoin price, although I did close that out, take some profits. Even though if the Golden Cross were to repeat, we have been rallying and we may continue to rally into the Golden Cross. Does not mean that traders won't get wicked out in either direction, so set the stop losses, set the take profits, and let's keep tabs on this metric as the Golden Cross continues. I'll come back to this, I'll share it with you. And big news for SocialFi platform Lively, which just as a reminder, as they describe themselves, the future of online monetization for creators, freelancers, and digital entrepreneurs. They are aiming to be the leaders in SoFi, or social finance, which is a new trend, an emerging trend in crypto, as explained by Lively co-founder.
SocialFi specifically is very much Web3, right? You're bridging social and finance. So I think that the creator economy is going nowhere but up. So many people are considering themselves creators now. You see pilots, who spent almost a decade in school, doctors, lawyers, who actually are considering themselves digital creators. If you look at their profiles, they're like, yeah, forget that I'm a doctor, I'm a digital creator. Like it's becoming an absolutely accepted and honorable career choice. So the creator economy is in its infancy for real.
So think of Lively specifically as sort of the Patreon killer, sort of your all-in-one headquarters to generate revenue online by creating and sharing content. They actually won Social Platform of the Year by Entrepreneur Middle East. The platform is backed by Phoenix Group, which is the 4th largest Bitcoin miner globally, also Cypher Capital, and global crypto exchange M2. And Lively is actually sponsoring this segment of today's video, so I can share with you exactly what makes them unique. And actually in a recent AMA with Lively co-founder, he explains the product, the opportunity.
Look, the bottom line is Lively, we don't like to consider Lively social media because we didn't set out to create a competitor to Instagram or a competitor to TikTok. What we really set out to do is create a new genre of a platform which is designed to make all of the creators think more entrepreneurial. So what do I mean by that? Is when you post on Lively, you're not just posting content and sending it out to the world and hoping for a bunch of views, and a bunch of likes and engagement. That's not the purpose of Lively. The purpose of Lively is when you post on Lively is you're posting to monetize.
So obviously a profile that pays is the goal. I actually just created my own profile, link down below if you want to follow me. And while in a lot of ways this is getting in early because this is so new, their TGE is scheduled to happen this week. They have already raised over $12.5 million and already have over 25,000 users and creators. Link down below, check it out. We also have Sui blockchain going crazy. Solana rival Sui continues parabolic run to new highs as daily transactions more than double. So the data is clear that Sui transactions have officially surpassed Solana transactions. Now, I still hold Solana, I like Solana, and I think they both have their place, but Sui, in a lot of ways, is the new hotness of this cycle. If you type in Altcoin Daily Sui on YouTube, you see we shared the potential of Sui with you over 6 months ago. And if you're asking why Sui transactions are now surpassing Solana,
we don't have gas fees that spike through the roof. You don't have filling transactions that are required to try again and again. You don't have outages that go on for random times where you actually need to trade. You don't have a max throughput. The network, you throw more hardware capacity to the network and it scales horizontally. The stuff you expect from infrastructure, which you don't get from Web3 as a whole. I think we're bringing that level of execution to Web3, and I think it's about time.
And finally, news in the Memecoin world, Foxy USD update. Give us that dirty reversal when meme coins get going again. Has Foxy found a bottom? Well, they are the #1 meme coin for Ethereum's L2 Linea. Linea is owned by Consensus. Consensus also owns MetaMask, the wallet. And just like Coinbase is pumping their users to base their ETH L2, I could see Foxy doing really well with any MetaMask news later this year, or if MetaMask, just like Coinbase, chooses to pump their users into their L2. Time will tell. I'll keep you updated. Like always, see you tomorrow.